So here is a brief example of how to create a Java project that uses JUnit for unit testing. So I'll go up here and I'll use the file menu, which I know you can't quite see, and I'll say new Java project, and I'll give it a name, JUnit 2020, and set up your environment kind of the way you normally would. I'm going to use Java 1.8, which is an older version of Java, but I know that it'll work perfectly well with this older version of JUnit that I'm going to be using. You probably have a number of number of different versions of Java you can select from. So I'll just use Java 1.8, that's fine. Or the default, that's fine, that's what I have built in. You can do the folders however you want. And then I'm going to click on the next button rather than finish. So I'll click on next, and what I want to do is go over here to libraries, and you'll see that you start with the build path is only going to include sort of the standard Java library here. I want to add a new library to this as well. I'll select JUnit and select next, and here you have to be careful. I want you to be using JUnit 4 at this point. So click JUnit 4, not 5. It might also be called Jupyter. And then you can go ahead and click finish. And at this point, you should have set up the whole library. So you can say finish. And that should have set everything up. Now, when I go up here and I'll just make a little file here. I'll say new class. Let's make a little test class here. Test class. And what it doesn't really matter. I'll give it a main. Anything will do. And I'll go ahead and say finish. And so that's there. And you'll see, if you look over here in the project, you'll see that both the Java library is there as well as JUnit 4 library is there. Likewise, once I'm in here, now when I go to the new menu, I can say new, and one of the entries in the menu will be new JUnit test case. So rather than just Java files, you can now create test cases if you want to. So if I do that, give it some name, call it Matt for here. And you can set things up kind of however you want. I want this to be a JUnit 4 test, not a Jupyter test, but a JUnit 4 test. And you can kind of set these up however you want. And I'll call this Matt test. And we kind of go on from there. So that should, oh, source folder is empty. Sorry, my bad. Need to give it where I was. This one here. Okay, there we go. So that's all set up, and I can say finish, and now you see it goes ahead and creates sort of an empty unit test frame to work from. And now, by the way, if you have created a Java project, but you forgot to add the library, the JUnit library, you can actually add it post facto after the project's been created. I'll show you how that works. I'll go to the file menu again. I'll say new Java project, and I'll just call this test JUnit 2020B, and I'll just say I mistakenly clicked on finish here. So now that I'm in this project, if I try to, again, I'll create a new class. I'll say new Java class, and I'll call it Matt testing, something, blah, blah, blah. Give it a main. Now I've got a class in here. If the library is not there, you can add it just by selecting the project and then go to Properties. And from Properties, select Build Path on the left here. And you'll probably see it'll probably look like this when you first come in. Just go to Libraries and then say Add Library and find JUnit and select the version of JUnit that you want, which is going to be 4. And I'll say finish, apply and close, and you're all done. So anyway, so that'll work just fine. You can always make that happen. You can always add JUnit to the project after you're done. And so that's it.